Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Moeketsi, my man, and you are now watching Mzansi Affairs alongside Mr. Lyric B. Mr. Banele, how are you?
No, I'm doing good. How are you?
I am doing good. Especially for today with the headlines that we are going to cover for our people. And if you just joined the conversation, please, guys, do not forget to go on our social media pages by subscribing to our YouTube channel, which is Share Online on YouTube, and going on our Facebook page, which is Share Online, and pressing the subscribe button and the like button. Not wasting your time, ladies and gentlemen. Right now, we are deep into it. It's 34 minutes past 12 right now, and it's a beautiful Tuesday. So for today, we are going to be covering what is going to set to happen tomorrow, which is President Cyril Ramaphosa is set to sign the NHI bill. The NHI bill into law, in which is tomorrow, Wednesday. So for the people that don't know at home, I will just read a short, description, a short meaning of what the NHI bill means. So to the sources that I have here, well, I want to share my screen with you, and I hope everything is, actually clear for people to read what I'm about to read to them. So the National Health Insurance is South Africa's strategy to achieving universal health coverage, and the NHI is a fund from which the government will buy healthcare services for South Africans from healthcare providers, both in the public and private sector. The NHI will make healthcare more affordable by reducing the cost of healthcare for all. So that is what we're going to be discussing with you at home. So if you would like to leave your comment down below, please do so. And also you can call us or send us your voice note on our number, which is 061 524 7758. It's 061 524 7758. Before I go deep into this, I want to ask you if you have heard of something called the NHI.
Not until recently, but as far as healthcare, we know the different bodies that your nurses qualify under. They need to be registered under those different bodies, the medicine and the likes. But in terms of the NHI, it's only now that it's come to light. Yeah, and it also makes me wonder. I mean, there's a lot that is also, unknown to most of us as South Africans. So hopefully for today we can unpack what this means, and in fact, what this means for everyday South Africans, right? For the ones that are, that do have a medical aid, but this could potentially mean that when they do go to a private hospital, they'll probably find a queue there, and that's what they were. Or maybe the reason why they opted for medical aid to begin with is that whenever they have a medical need, it gets attended to promptly. So, we'll discuss all of that, what that means as well.
Yeah, so as I've said, ladies and gentlemen, please do get on our social media platforms and comment down below what you think of the NHI bill, in which Mr. President Ramaphosa will get to sign tomorrow and declare it as something that we will be, heading towards from tomorrow. So I just want to get, a little bit of your opinion of what you think, because this is what we're going to be discussing today right here on Mzansi Affairs. Right now, we are going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we are going to continue with the headline for today. So please stay tuned for more discussion after the break. welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. You are still tuned into Mzansi Affairs with me, Moeketsi, and Mr. Banele Mni on my side. We're still discussing our today's headline, which is the National Health Insurance Bill that is set to be signed by the President tomorrow, in which we want to know your take on what the NHI will actually do for the people of South Africa, especially the citizens who are having health issues. As we know that on the 12th of June 2023, the National Assembly passed the National Health Insurance Bill, in which it seeks to provide universal access of health to each and every citizen in South Africa. Well, the first time when I heard about this NHI, it was when I was in Ebegimlangeni, attending the hospital with my mom. So like those posters were actually all over the hospital.
Yep.
In hospitals they always post these things in which a lot of people don't pay attention to.
No, I mean, when you're sitting there, right, because of the long queues, you were eventually forced to read it.
Yeah. So that's where I started seeing it, and especially on these monitors that they have. So they will always, just display it to the people there that the NHI, this is what the NHI, the benefits of the NHI, and this is what is going to take place. But now, you are in a public hospital and you are seeing this. For somebody who's in a public hospital, they see it as something that is very positive. So, but now we want to get, into discussing the public sector and the private sector when it comes to health in our country. So for most of the people who are complaining are mostly the ones in the private sector, that this thing is going to be neutralized now to everyone, that, healthcare is going to be accessible to everyone. Now I want to get into a discussion that is it the NHI bill something that we really need in this country, or it's just, something, because I saw that in an article they say it's a way that a ruling party wants to, get votes.
I was about to say that there's a lot of talks around that. Simply put, I mean, this is just 2 weeks before the national elections, and this would be a positive spin on the ANC, right? That they have somehow given the country the same healthcare benefits that the minority are currently enjoying. And obviously the thing that is dividing the country is based on money or income, right? So for those that are able to afford healthcare, they're the ones that would somehow say, look, I don't get it, okay? But just before we dive into your question, I mean, just a while back there was talks about being able to, or the country or the Minister of Health introducing a law, so to speak, right, that for anyone that is of a foreign descent, and more specifically our neighboring countries, when they come and deliver children this side, they should be able, in fact they should pay the health system for delivering all of those health resources. So these were people that are making use of the government healthcare system, and they were complaining that no, we can't be on the same level. So the reason I'm saying that this is because when we take a look at the ones that are having your medical aid and the people that don't have, obviously the ones that don't have will think that this is a good thing to sign into law, right? Because at the moment it's still a bill. It's not law yet. So obviously the ones that don't have medical aid, they'll feel like this is a good thing. And for the ones that do have medical aid, they'll feel like it's not a good thing. Hence, I was referencing the example that even for individuals that make use of your clinics and your public hospitals, they feel like, you know what, our hospitals are overcrowded by foreigners, so we need to find a way to separate ourselves. And the same thinking is true, that the ones that do have medical aid are like, no, we need some form of separation between the two. So depending on where you are, you might advocate for separation, or you might be like, you know what, let everyone be on the same page. Let's make it even more affordable. Yeah.
I mean, right now, the question that is actually brewing from the citizens is that what is the NHI, and how will it change the system?
Yeah.
Because they have written everything that the NHI is actually funded by our taxes, that we pay, and is also from which the government will buy, the healthcare services for all of us who live in the country. So this means that, when you don't feel well, you can just go to any nearest of a clinic or a hospital that is near you. For somebody, who is actually far away from healthcare services, because we all know that there are a lot of people who are struggling to get to nearby clinics and nearby hospitals, because some of them might be, private clinics, private hospitals in front of them, and they have to travel far, by distance to get the medical assistance that they need. So I think there are a lot of benefits, but now the benefits are actually something that are opposed by people who already have, as much as you said that the ones that already have the medical aid. I mean, I've been paying for this medical aid for as long as I can remember. So now this bill is passing, and then the president is signing. The next thing, we get ourselves into things that we do not understand.
Yeah. I mean, I read something very interesting about the NHI network. So, not all private institutions will want to, go with this act or bill. If they belong to the NHI network, then 100% you can go to a local tip or timber, for example, right? And this does raise concerns for a lot of people. But then earlier, when opening the show, you mentioned something about buying healthcare from public as well as private, right? So for me, it begs the question to ask that we understand the private, right? They are independently operated, but when they say public, what exactly do they mean when saying that they want to purchase public healthcare? Isn't public healthcare already something that is readily available for South Africans, that our taxpayers' money is actually going there? So that's the question. I mean, what is this public healthcare that they're purchasing? Are they saying that we can now go to a pharmacy, right, and then get medicine from there rather than having to go to a clinic? Because the process right now is, if you are sick and you need medical attention, you'd have to go to a clinic, you sign a form, and you get the medication that you need. Although the medication might not necessarily be presented in a package that you would get from the pharmacy, but you'd find that the actual pills or the medicine is the actual medicine itself. So I mean, these are the questions. Like, do I go to a clinic when I need to go and collect my medication? Or can I go to a pharmacy? And because I'm part of this NHI network, can I then get my medication from there? The same way that a medical aid can give you those benefits, right? Can I exercise the same benefits? So there's a lot of unknowns here that still needs to be answered. So what people are saying online is that we may find ourselves in a position where we are prematurely signing something that has not yet been extensively discussed and weighed out the pros and the cons. So these are some of the questions that are actively circulating on social media. But I, for me personally, I think these are good questions, and maybe let's have the discussion, right, before we sign it into a law. Yeah.
Join our conversation on all social media platforms, which is Facebook, Instagram, also TikTok, and YouTube. Please do not forget to press that follow button and that subscription button so that you can get more of this. Right now, we are still discussing the NHI bill, which is set to be passed and signed by the president tomorrow. We want to hear from you guys. What do you think? And is NHI the way that the South African health system needs right now, or it's just something that their ruling party wants, to boost their vote? So, in terms of this, I also came across that. One of the reason that the NHI is actually needed is because private hospitals are always, maintained very well. The funds are always flooding in so that the hospitals can keep on running. So right now they are trying to, take out this notion that, people should prepare, not prefer, prefer private than public, because public hospitals, as we know, most of them, they are just, not taken care of. So I think it's just scraping off things that healthcare, it's more or less of the same thing everywhere you go. So it doesn't mean when you attend this hospital, you will get more care better than the other hospitals. So they're trying to bring a system in which it's healthcare is equal, because also on the constitution it's there that healthcare for everyone in South Africa, equal healthcare,
quality healthcare,
yes,
for access to equal
access to quality healthcare. So I believe most of the people, this thing, it shows that there are still people who are divided.
That's true.
Because I think now you're in terms of being covered, it's covering people who are in the country. Now the question becomes which people, because we have people who are refugees, people who have asylums to stay in the country. So people are fighting that we can't be, more or less in the same level with
outsiders.
We need to be treated better. So you are there as a South African citizen. Somebody is in here in the country. Maybe they have done something wrong. They get hurt. They go into the healthcare system. And then when as a citizen, you are supposed to get help, and they're busy helping somebody who is here for wrong reasons. Those are some of the, negative things that most of the people discuss out there, in terms of, what is this thing going to do for us, and what is it that is going to change?
Yeah, so if I may quickly chime in, what you've mentioned is a concern. It is a concern, but I would like to think that for anyone that is in the country that is a foreigner, that has the legal documentation to be here, I think they should be afforded the same health care. Because when you go out and you go to other countries, right, if something happens to you, knowing that the country that you are in will afford you the health care that you need, it's more of a symbiotic relationship that countries should have together. So if you are legally in the country, then 100% I fully agree. But it is a tiresome situation where you are in line for medication, and just as the queue comes to you, they tell you that they've ran out. There's multiple stories of people collecting their medications from the clinic. Either it did not arrive or they ran out because, they had to give it to people that are not legally in the country. So my question would be the following, that I feel like we are too quick to take this into a law, right? So the Houses of Parliament, I feel like they've discussed this, but then I don't know if this does give us the ability as the nation to also effect something like this, where just like we are voting now, is this something that we can also vote for? And the reason I'm saying this is because despite whether or not this does come to fruition to become a law, I don't think that the politicians or even, the councillors will be under this kind of medical care. they will have something that's unique, that's different. I mean, they can go to Russia, right, for a medical treatment,
Yeah.
right? So for me, it's like if we really believe in this NHI to transform and give access to quality healthcare for everyone, then I think the president themselves, like when he gets a cough, he needs to
Yeah.
go to a clinic.
To a clinic.
Maybe not the president, but everyone underneath the president. Yeah,
Somebody of high stature.
yeah.
Because I also believe that these things, they also build trust in the citizens. The reason that citizens mostly prefer private hospitals is because they see their leaders, they are not leading by example by coming and visiting public hospitals, just to check up on their health, on what is going on.
Yeah,
So
that's true.
as much as questions are busy flooding in terms of this bill being proposed, so there's a question that is being asked: that will unemployed people be able to access healthcare services? So it is being answered by that, yes, they will, because the NHI will will purchase services on behalf of all South Africans, and all users will be able to access healthcare services without paying anything at the point of care, regardless of the socio-economic status, in which is something that if you can really look deep into it, that there are people who are really having health issues and they can't, maintain or, take care of themselves with what they're going through. So it's like, whenever it is accessible, creating this pool of, one healthcare so that it can be accessible to all South Africans, it definitely brings, what we say, it's taking away inequality, because it's something that also poses a threat, not to say a threat, but to inequality that we are facing in this country. So
Yeah.
I believe that the NHI will in some way bring that benefit, that people would never be unequal, as they have been in terms of going and attending different healthcare services.
Yeah, I mean, for example, right, when we talk about Baragwana
Yeah.
Hospital, right, it is the biggest hospital, obviously, in the country. And you'll find that medical students from abroad will come here, right, so that they can practice. They can practice their practice this side. So in terms of what would be different compared to what is currently existing, I think it's still yet to be seen, because us flooding public hospitals, because that's what's going to happen, because everyone would be like, you know what, I think I've got a headache, so let me go to a private hospital. Or I think, something's wrong, let me just go for a checkup rather. And we'll find ourselves flooding there. So in terms of the inequality, I think a lot still needs to be discussed, and a lot still needs to be at least projected, that if this happens and everyone has equal access, what does this mean? And if there are individuals that say, you know what, if this is the way that the country is going, I will then cancel my medical aid and then be part of the same pool of people that will enjoy the same benefits. Because if I can go to a private hospital today and I'm paying, what's the use for me to carry on paying? And everyone will still have the same benefits. So rather let me not pay and still go to a private hospital. Maybe things will be different here and there, but I can save a lot of money as a result of that. So this does then put a threat on the medical business, that, a lot of people are going to start canceling their medical aid.
Yeah.
And when they cancel the medical aid, it will then pose a big risk in terms of, job losses. But obviously we need to look at what is maybe the job loss versus the job opportunities that might arise from this. If it kind of works out, then I don't know, maybe, yes, we can move forward. But there is a big risk of medical aids being cancelled. If not cancelled, then to some degree they have to offer a different SKU or package for those that are paying. If not, then they have to lower the prices for medical aid, right? So, yep, I mean, it does pose a big threat. So I will then say this from my position to say, look, if you are a person that is not currently enjoying the benefits of a medical aid, 100% this is for you, right? And I think for me, the right step would be that let's introduce things in portions, right? Rather than, a drastic change like just pulling the rug underneath your feet. Let's improve the current state of healthcare. I think this is what needs to be done, because there are funds, and these funds are from tax-paying citizens. So unless there's something I'm not getting, but this is the same money. So rather buy these packages and make or build more hospitals and employ more youth, so that we revive that sector of the healthcare. And I think that will improve healthcare. So get more clinics, make sure everything is up to date, and public healthcare should be it should be stepped up.
Get in the conversation with us by joining our social media platforms, which is Share Online on Facebook, Share Online on YouTube, Share Online on Instagram, also on TikTok. And please do not forget to leave your voice note or your comment on our WhatsApp number, which is 061-524-7758. Right now, we are going to take a short break, and then when we come back, we are going to discuss some of the words from the Minister of Health, which is Mr. Joe Phaahla, and hear what he has to say when it comes to this NHI bill being passed in South Africa. Welcome back. You are still watching Mzansi Affairs with me, Moeketsi, and Mr. Banele Mngci right here. We're still discussing the NHI bill, which is set to be passed tomorrow by the president. So I hope you guys are there at home and, giving us your opinions on what you think about this bill that is about to be passed tomorrow. So before the break, I actually told you to stay tuned, because also the Minister of Health, Mr. Joe Phaahla, had to say something in terms of this NHI bill. So this was Mr. Phahla's words, which is, he said, this is a landmark moment for our country and specifically for our health system as we move towards realizing universal health coverage through the phased approached implementation of NHI as a mechanism to ensure equitable access to quality healthcare for all citizens. So the NHI represents a significant milestone in South Africa's commitment to achieving universal health coverage, and we are confident that with the support of all stakeholders, we will create a healthcare system that is fair, efficient, and accessible to all. So those were the words from the minister himself, Mr. Joe Phaahla, speaking about, how this will actually benefit all of the South African citizens. But now the problem is there are people who are still against this, in which it's something that
I mean, as a taxpayer, right? Are we going to see a hike in VAT, food prices? Because where's this money going to come from? right? It's not like every single year when they have a speech budget that for some reason healthcare didn't have or doesn't have money, right? They do allocate funds to health, and this money we know is coming from health, from taxpayers' money. Now, the question is for this new bill or law, they're going to need much more because they're purchasing packages here. Now, where's this money going to come from? Does this mean now we need to pay more in taxes? And for the ones that are employed and are paying taxes, they are the ones that are going to feel the pinch. But for the ones that are a South African that is unemployed, for them, this is something good. So, in terms of striking a balance, we need to somehow look at the different ways in which we can make this equitable for everyone. Because if I can say equal or fair, then the ones that are tax-paying citizens, they'll say, but this is not fair. How is it fair that I pay for medical aid and yet I pay for medical aid because the state fails to give me health care, in my opinion, that is good for me and my family? So I went and I bought health care at a private institution. And now they're telling me that they are going to raise taxes so that every South African can get good and fair healthcare. It's not fair for those individuals, right? So we need to then look at the entire landscape to say, look, who is this fair for and who is this not fair for? So for the ones that will be paying the taxes, if it does equal to that, then how are we making this fair for everyone, you know? So I feel like before signing it, there's questions that needs to be answered. Yeah.
And, with what you have mentioned, in terms of where is the money going to come from and what is being done when it comes to, infrastructure and building more hospitals, the question is, it's standing that what is being done to improve the infrastructure of public sector facilities?
As it exists.
So
like, what's the plan? Because it's as if healthcare, sorry to cut you, was public, was neglected. And then all of a sudden, hey, there's this, silver bullet that will save all of us. Question is, what was the plan 2 years ago to improve healthcare? What was the plan 5 years ago? Have we achieved on those plans? What, steps have we taken in the right direction to improve healthcare? And I think these are the first questions that needs to be answered because it's like another promise. Because for me, I can get excited, yes, but it's like, it's another promise. And this song, for me, it sounds very much similar. Like I know the song of promises. I know how the song ends. I know how it starts. I know what it looks like in the middle, and I know what it looks like right at the end when it ends. I know the song. It's been played on repeat multiple times.
And also, as much as we all, we have questions, and they will have answers to the questions that we ask them. So the bill comes, in answering the question of what is being done to improve the infrastructure. The bill comes and answers and says there are initiatives underway to improve the conditions of public facilities. The Department of Health has allocated 7.2 billion over 3 years to facilitate maintenance, refurbishment, upgrades, replacement of infrastructure or new infrastructure. So this talks to us in that, there have been initiatives that have been underway for the past 3 years. So it's something because in 2019, that's where, it was proposed, that's where it was tabled, in Parliament that this is the new bill that needs to take, to come, into action. So I think with what they have been saying, I feel like they have been preparing, so money has been allocated. As much as they talk about money that has been allocated, now I think we should see, changes. We haven't been following up on the hospitals that have been refurbished because, not to lie or to say anything, I haven't had anything that has to do with, the services of a hospital for the past 2 months. We had that scandal of, I don't know. I don't remember which hospital was it, whereby there was a tender. I don't know. It was involving skinny jeans or something, and
What?
then so the money to buy the skinny jeans. So the money was wasted and eaten by the people, and then the person who was covering the story unfortunately was killed. It was an Indian woman. I think it was Babita something,
Sure.
So from the past month, we never heard anything about, shenanigans about hospitals. So I kind of believe that, it's underway and is taking action. So people will always, come, with things that are going to be of opposing in the idea that is being given to people. So as much as, asking a question of infrastructure, I believe that we should see things changing, in no time, anytime soon. Because with health, we know that we all need quality health. We don't have to, go back to the system whereby you are treated your disease. We have the same disease, but it is treated, differently according to the healthcare system that we attend to. So I do believe that changes will be there. More hospitals will be built because they see that in terms of what the citizens have been complaining about, we can complain about jobs, but if people, are not healthy, are not well taken care of, we are risking our country in terms of, economic growth.
No, I agree. I agree. In fact, you know what? There's an article here from the IOL, and they were just mentioning something worthwhile, and I think people should take this into deep consideration. So I'm just going to read this paragraph here. It says that while the NHI bill has not been signed by President Cyril Ramaphosa, and it will take around 8 to 10 years to implement. Okay, so this may come as a front to say, look, equal, fast, accessible healthcare for everyone. And then we go out and we vote, and then only then we learn that this thing is not going to take place anytime soon, right? So it may be a front, or maybe it's not a front, but it could be used as a tactic, to gain all of those votes. So it says, according to Prema, it is essential to clear up any confusion for those who pay for medical aid and medical insurance. And according to Discovery, the NHI bill states that medical schemes cannot pay for services that are covered by NHI. So if you need an operation and if it's not covered by the NHI, then you would still need a Discovery or a Bonitas or something like that. But for the mere fact that this will take 8 to 10 years for us to start seeing the first signs of it means that, you know what, you can sign it right now, it's okay. But then we should not be moved by it, right? Because another 5 years will go by, and the communication or the message then will say, you see, now we are close, we are implementing this thing soon, and then we vote again, and change doesn't happen. So for me, I would say that for anyone who's listening and watching, 100% we understand, we get this. I think it could be a good thing, but let's not be moved or phased by it. It's still going to take time, and I think a lot will change as and when it is, still undergoing the process of it becoming an actual law. So maybe we should wait on signing, but we'll see. Tomorrow's the day, right?
Tomorrow is the day, which is Wednesday, where the president is set to sign the National Health Insurance bill to make sure that everyone in South Africa is have the access to equal access to healthcare. On Facebook, we have Utuli Priscilla saying, I am listening. As well as you still listening, Ms. Tuli, we would really like to hear your opinion or your comment about the National Health Insurance bill that is underway and going to be signed on tomorrow, Wednesday. As much as the comments are still coming, also the questions, they're still roaring, in terms of what is going to happen. So please, guys, do make sure to go on our social media platforms and comment down below and tell us what you really think when it comes to the National Health Bill Insurance. It's a Facebook, share online, Instagram. It's also share online. Also on TikTok, it's also share online. So on TikTok, we have a comment from Elegance in Every Bite saying, "Wow, this is very informative." Thank you so much for the comment, Mr. Ele. Elegance, if I pronounce that right. So we aim at giving you the information to be informed what is happening all around, because we believe that this one is something that most of the people should actually know, because it includes all of the citizens' health. It might get to a point that it is risky, but now, what does that risk come, to us as, So the question again on the bill, they say, will the NHI destroy the private sector? So right now I'm gonna share, a highlighted answer from the bill itself, saying you. Oh, I'm a lady G. Oh, sorry. Sorry. Elegance in everybody. Sorry, my sister. Sorry, my sister. But thank you so much for correcting me. And please do keep your comments coming and tell us what you really think of this NHI bill. So, with the question that they asked, which is, will the NHI destroy the private sector? So, they're answering and saying no. The national health insurance will not destroy the private sector. The private sector has different role players, and they are, number one, healthcare providers like the GPs, specialists, pharmacies, and hospitals. Number two, suppliers of goods, health products like medicines, devices, and diagnostic devices. Number three, funders, medical schemes, and four, administrators. They have different roles to play in the NHI, and they are described below.
Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
hearing this, I also believe that is also it's vast, in terms of what they really want to do with the health, because taking care of those, who we say they are from, poor backgrounds, it's something that you include them in this pool of health, but now there's still more things being done, in terms of making sure that, health services, they keep on running. We know sometimes we can be attacked by something that we will never know where it comes from, whereby we have shortages of medicines, in which is something that we have came across, we have had.
Still happening.
It's still happening, so I also believe private also plays a very big role into funding what we really need, and bringing some of the things that we are not exposed to, because private is all about money. So where there's money, obviously solutions will be found.
Like medical breakthroughs. I mean, just the other day, right, we were reading up on an article about a gentleman in the United States. Unfortunately, he crossed over, but he got a implant from a genetically modified pig for his liver.
Yeah.
And 2 days later, he unfortunately crossed over, right? So it is the medical or the private sector, right, that does all of these medical breakthroughs. Now, in this case, I might not even say it is a breakthrough, but then it could be that, I don't know, they're onto the right path or level, pathway, sorry, that they are experimenting and testing all of these solutions. I mean, imagine a time where we will be able to genetically create a heart that could be transferred to someone else, right? But I think now it's about giving equal and accessible health care to poor South Africans, or the ones that are living in poverty, because the private sector, I don't think they will be somehow too disturbed by this, although they will take away that small market where even if you do have medical aid, you might be like, you know what, should I use, the public system or should I go to my medical aid? And then for some things, you might decide, you know what, let me just go with this public one that has been implemented. But guys, we're looking at 8 to 10 years before this becomes a thing, right? So as it stands right now, for the next 10 years, things will continue as they are. But I mean, for other things like your cosmetic surgery, or you need like a procedure to be done, it won't be covered by this. You have to book and wait at a public hospital for you to get this, right? But anything, I mean, the public doesn't even provide cosmetic. I mean, if you feel like your nose is out of place, out of line, you can't get that at a public hospital because it's mostly based on essential stuff, essential needs, right? So anything complimentary, like, cosmetics or bleaching or whatever, you would still have to go private. So I think there will be a place for both, but I think just like food, water, shelter are basic needs, I do think that with healthcare, we need good healthcare for everyone, right? And it should be in a way that is standard, acceptable, and even when we receive it, we still get that dignity when at a public hospital. So I feel like we do need it. So if it's going to take 10 years, you know what, it's fine. Time will pass anyway, but it's not something that is happening tomorrow, as and when they sign. No.
So on TikTok, we have Miss Elegance saying, how equal is that really? Basic needs are not shared equally. How can this bill convince me?
I think I'm on the same camp as her. And I'm talking about what I see and what I experience, that in terms of basic needs, food, right? Food security is a conversation that's still ongoing. A lot of people are going hungry, and the interventions from the government, whether it's the SASA grants, 350, whatever grants that they offer, obviously they do not even start to begin to cater for basic needs. So what I'm seeing on the ground is that people are hungry. There aren't as many jobs. And for entrepreneurs or business people that are trying to create businesses and employ people, there isn't that much. Yes, there are some grants, some aids, but there's just not a lot that's being done to ensure that jobs are being created, protected as well, to some degree subsidized, so that small businesses can continue growing and thriving. So because of what I saw or what I see as far as food is concerned, which is really at the core basic, a fundamental human right or human need. Do I think that the same thing, or do I think that healthcare will be equal for everyone, but then we are still getting it wrong when it comes to the food, So I have to agree with her that we're not, and I don't think this will be. Yeah.
I mean, getting to answer your question, because as much as you are asking that question, the bill also, provide answers like yours. So right now we're going to share a screen with you and a highlighted answer of what exactly the bill is trying to say in terms of what you have asked. So right now, on my screen, we have from the bill that's saying economic development and also growth. It's one of the benefit. So economic development and growth. A healthy population, they state that a healthy population can work more effectively and efficiently and contribute to economic growth. So a productive workforce contributes to the economy through a growth of local business, attracting foreign investors and growing the domestic economy. An investment in health is an important safety net against poverty by providing financial protection for everyone in this country. So as much as you said that, in terms of employment, people need employment as of right now, that we see the unemployment rate. When we speak about the sustainable socio-economic, development in this country, I believe that the health system and this bill will also, make other departments thrive, in terms of making sure that there's equal access of healthcare that gets to people. It's practiced in a right way, in a manner that jobs are created so that people can access, because private hospitals really, really thrive, when people are coming and paying for the healthcare. So if you don't have a lot of people in the population of the country not actually, working, we are going to see the deterioration of the health system, because doctors also needs to be paid and the people in the health department also needs to be paid. So I firmly believe that somewhere, somehow, we have to be convinced in what is coming. Whether it's 10 years from now, we also need to take care of ourselves, because we have a lot of diseases coming, and they're still coming. So this also, tells us that we need to brace ourselves. The government cannot only propose something like this if there's nothing coming.
I mean, this is a conversation for another day, but you know what? Personally, I believe that some of these things are engineered, right? I mean, they'll tell you that you should prepare for an outbreak, and then here's a solution that would require you to fork out money just so that you are prepared and you are in a state where your immune system is, everything is in check. But it's a conversation for another day. But then there's a lot. There's a lot, because when it comes to government employees, I think their medical aid is the GEMS one, right? The government employee medical scheme, right? So I wonder for those government officials and people that work in government, that what does this mean for them? Does it mean that they do away with GEMS as well, or based on the complementary procedures? Then they can still keep GEMS for those things, but for everything else, maybe the system will be able to take care of it and the prices will go down. But for me, the way it stands, look, I think healthcare is something that we should not solely leave up to the government. I think as an individual, you need to make a plan for yourself. And there's a lot of options out there, because even for doctors, your general practitioners, there's different networks that are available where you can pay a certain fee. It might not include procedures, but for your everyday needs, like, you need a health checkup, or you need medicine for a cough and so on, you can always go to the network of these practitioners. So there's a lot. So I'm just saying to people, look, it's great and all. I don't mean to sound negative, but healthcare, we can't entirely. A portion of it, yes, government, but we can't entirely leave it up to government.
Before we conclude, we also have a comment from Ms. Elegance saying, I guess the bill will ensure undocumented foreign nationals don't abuse the healthcare system. So in terms of that, they have also stated, when the citizens were asking that, how will corruption be prevented in terms of this bill? So they came, I'm going to share a screen with you right now on what they have actually written down and answered in terms of that question. So it states that control measures and mitigating strategies are currently being implemented in the design and development process of the NHI fund. The public will have an opportunity to anonymously report corrupt activities to law enforcement agencies and the HSACF, which has been established by the president. So I guess that it is our responsibility, if we see, illegal activities happening, you should report. I guess, Miss Elegance, you should report if you see undocumented people trying to do, trying to benefit, from the things that they should not be benefiting from. And she comes and say, thanks for the response. And thank you so much for commenting down below. We really, really appreciate that. Banele should drop me a WhatsApp when you guys go live. He has my details.
Yeah, hence I was laughing, right? So, yeah, because I'm looking at the messages and I'm like, oh, okay, so I know this individual, know her very well. In fact, we've, yeah, I know her very well. So, yeah, thanks for tuning in. And again, I mean, as the youth of SA, we're trying to make sure that we do talk about these topics. It's not just only about girls, alcohol, and parties, but we try and make sure that we surface and bring these conversations to light, the ones that will impact the country. So, I mean, a bill is being signed into a law tomorrow. So, I mean, how many of us actually know that what this means, what this entails? So, that's the goal. That's the goal. So, thank you so much. I know her by a different name, by the way. I know you by a different name, but yeah, that's the goal. That Mzansi Affairs, we talk about the affairs of the country and what could potentially be, what will contribute towards the growth of the country economically and other ways. But yeah, thank you so much for tuning in. But yeah, we have come to the end of our show, right?
Yeah, it is the end. So I just want to ask you if you are looking forward to tomorrow or what?
I am. I mean, as much as I am a little bit, on the fence, but a step in the right direction, supposedly on book or on paper, I am for it. So looking forward to it, yeah.
Yeah, also looking
And,
forward.
government people are getting paid, so
Yeah. Also looking forward for tomorrow when the NHI bill is being signed by the president of South Africa. This was Mzansi Affairs, ladies and gentlemen, by me, Moeketsi and Mr. Banele Mni. So I would like to say thank you so much for those who have joined us until now, because we are about to close it. And until we meet next time, next week, same time, same place, right here on Share Online. Please, guys, please do not forget to follow us on our social media platforms, which is TikTok, also Instagram is Share Online, YouTube Share Online. Don't forget to press the notification button. Facebook is also Share Online. And also, if you want to call us and just leave us your voice note or your comment, please, the number is 061 524 7758. Please remember, it's 061 524 758. And do not forget that after, as much as you asked Miss Elegance that Banele should tell you about when we go live, right now at 2 o'clock, please stay tuned for the creative corner, in which they will be speaking about all of that the creative go through in the industry and discussing with guests that are on the show. So right now I would like to leave you and say, guys, please take care, and please do make sure that you vote. And tomorrow the president is signing the bill, and stay tuned. Thank you so much.